Greetings, amigops and top teners everywhere. Welcome back to another episode of Top 10 with Kyle and Mike. I am your co-host Kyle. Opposite me today, as he is every week, is your lovely co-host Michael, who is having his feet massaged in his brand new foot massager. Also opposite me today, and a very special, groundbreaking Top 10 first, we have current friend of the pod and former guest, good friend Quinn. Quinn is here with a list. I do not know what the list is. I just know that it's a top 10 list. He will give that list to us. We will vigorously debate. And by the end of this, hopefully compact episode, we'll have arrived at a definitive top 10. What are we talking about, Quinn?
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. Really looking forward to getting into this top 10. This is going to be the top 10 gadgets or tools you didn't know you needed. Man. I'm looking to improve your life in very, very small, really unimportant ways. But the impetus for this list is I was talking with friend of the pod, wife Emma, and
the pod's favorite family.
That's right. That's right.
First family of the pod.
Yeah.
I love it. And we were talking in the morning when we were brushing our teeth, and I said to her, I was like, wow, you know that, and then it's going to actually make the list, but it was like, that's really great. I don't think I could ever go back to not having one. And so that's what's going to be on this list. I'm going to try and hit things that could be pretty universally used. I'm not just trying to hit, one faction. Like, for example, I've got a GPS watch. I love my GPS watch. I use it for running. But if you're not a runner, it's like, why do you need a GPS watch? So I'm trying to get something that everybody could use and that maybe you think is like a total luxury item or completely unnecessary before you use it. And then you use it and it's like, oh, this has ruined me. I cannot go back. So that's where I'm going to take this list. And I've tried to leave the super obvious ones on the honorable mentions, like, yeah, car really improves your life. It's also a little pricey, so I'm not going to throw that on there. Most of these things, like, you could go to your local store or buy it off Amazon, and you wouldn't. It wouldn't hurt your wallet too bad. So that's what I've been trying to go with.
I can think of an implement that you and wife Emma use all the time.
Yes.
that I wonder if it made the list.
I can think of the exact same implement.
I bet it makes the list.
All right. We'll confirm later.
This is not sponsored.
That's the thing. So, yeah, you guys, if you do get some sponsorship, you should reach out to these companies.
Okay.
They've got some free press coming.
We can work with this. Quinn, just a quick thing. I think Kyle had mentioned in his intro and then not really explained that this is a first for the pod.
This is groundbreaking.
Yes.
It's probably groundbreaking because it's the first time you turned down a host list, and it was going to be the top 10 criticisms I've ever given you guys. Just kidding. This is the first 3-part pod where we're in 3 different cities recording.
Yep.
Opening up new horizons, just really getting you guys a little bit closer to getting Jerry Seinfeld on. But looking forward to being the guinea pig.
You joke, but seriously, this is actually a really important service you're doing for the pod because, as Kyle and I have said many times, we want anybody to come on this podcast, and realistically, our geography will limit us at some point. Maybe that's 30 years down the road when we're invited to the Grammys, but at some point between now and then, we're going to have somebody outside of, Boston and Chicago who we might want to have on. So it's good for us to test this, and hopefully with some joyous results in between.
No, it should be a good proof of concept, and I apologize to everyone who has to download this massive file, because it's literally 3 separate audios. Like, our podcasts are typically larger than average, and with today's modern phone technology, I don't think it really inhibits that many people, but hopefully it's fine.
This one's going to be 50% bigger than all of those.
It's going to be 50% larger.
Enjoy, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, you guys ready to get to the list?
Let's do it.
Let's let it rip. Also, I actually want to say one more thing. I want to be very clear. Like, there is no person who could have more appropriately brought this list to us. I always find that that's a good sign of a pod that we're going to enjoy. Is that I think, this is exactly the person I want to be bringing us this list, and you're exactly the person I want to be bringing us this list.
Well,
yes,
I appreciate that. As since I've gotten married and had a kid and become old and washed up, I've been looking for items that make my life just marginally easier, and these are 10 that have done that.
Beautiful.
Let's crack. What's number 10?
All right. So starting off with number 10 is a Bluetooth speaker. In college, I had like this big speaker set and you just plug in with an aux cord. And I thought, wireless would be nice, but who needs it? We've got a little, it's just like a little 6-inch Bose Bluetooth speaker at the house now, though. And it's like, oh, I can bring this in any room. I could take it to the garage. I could take it out to the front lawn and with our hammock and like just swing and listen to music. It's like, yeah, I want that. So having that portable ability to the speaker, so good. Bring it to the beach, bring it to a soccer game, whatever. Bluetooth speaker has been immensely it's been an immense improvement over the wired speaker.
I like this one so much because I've actually experienced this myself. For the past several years, I've been doing the old phone in a cup trick to amplify my sound. I'd been doing that for a long time. Like, I would have an empty plastic juice glass on top of my toilet because I like to listen to music or, podcasts or whatever while I'm in the shower. And it just looked really, really weird when a stranger would come into my bathroom and just see a plastic juice cup on the top of the toilet. And my sister got me, it's probably similar to what you're talking about, Quinn, a little portable Bose Bluetooth speaker for Christmas. I think not this past Christmas, but the one before, and it has been wonderful. I love that thing,
and the sound's great.
Oh yeah.
We got one on our wedding registry, and it's like probably the same kind of thing, but it's waterproof. So what I love using it for is I'll actually put it like on the rack in our shower so I can listen to a podcast or music in the shower, which is clutch. What's also nice is like these things get loud. So like if you have people over, you can fill a room with it, which you could do that with a wired speaker too. But what I like it's nice to not have to wear headphones while you're doing something like cooking. Yeah. So like putting this like near the stove, it's quiet enough that you're not bothering someone else, but it's much better than having headphones in. I agree. This has made a big difference in the enjoyment of our new home.
It's also great when you're folding laundry because a lot of times you'll catch the headphones as you're flinging something and just rips it out of your ears.
We're old, man. But yes, I totally agree.
Nothing makes me angrier than the incidental headphone rip out. It's just like irrational anger. So this has solved that for household chores.
Excellent.
So that's number 10. Number 9, this is something that I have gotten on my company car. It is heated and cooled seats.
The ass blaster.
The cooled is the key here.
The cooled for someone like Mike or myself is really the key.
You guys are two of the swassier individuals I know.
Yeah, hairy, kind of meaty people.
So when you're one of us, it's the cooled is really the one that you need. Because I think with heated, I could just throw a blanket down on the seat. That's fine. Yep. But with the cooled, on that hot summer's day, there's nothing nicer than getting a little bit of little wind there. And it's on both the back and the butt, which is great. So sometimes I'll leave work in the summer and just take my shirt off and just like have the air blowing.
Awesome. That is majestic. Emma, I have a plea for you. Emma, could you please get us a photo or video of this?
I'm just driving down 9th Street. 9th Street in downtown Louisville. I highly recommend it.
I think that's what that road was built for.
I think
Yeah, you're not the only person driving a car shirtless on 9th Street in the summer, I feel like.
Oh, that's
Probably
great.
not. Probably not.
Quinn, does your vehicle have... So my mom's car has this, and it was a revelation, because I've had... The ass blasting technology is not super new, but what my mom's car has actually is a heated steering wheel, and I think that's actually even better than the butt warmer.
Yeah, the heated steering wheel is really awesome, and it's like I could just wear gloves, but the heated steering wheel is really nice. I do prefer that to the butt warmer. Yeah, that one's really nice as well. I've gotten very spoiled because I did not purchase this car and am just allowed to drive it while I work for my current company, and so it's much nicer than I would have purchased myself.
Keep working for that current company, my friend.
So that's number 9.
That's a great pick.
That is a luxury. That is a very nice thing to have.
That is a luxury. That's probably the most bougie thing on here.
Yeah.
The rest of them are a little bit more attainable.
Yeah, but it's a good aspiration. Like, if you're going to think about things you aspire to, there's a lot of people I know who watch that show Billions and, draw wood about the idea of like the 70-foot yacht. I think there's some more attainable simple pleasures in life, like a warm hand and behind, that we all can really relate to. So I think it can seem bougie because it's sort of packaged with the idea of like, this is my Porsche with this heated steering wheel. Yeah, but it's also just the idea of like nice, warm hands and a warm butt.
Or it could be a Malibu.
In a Chevy. Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that the dream here that you're talking about is not a status-driven dream of like what car you drive. It's I want the actual pleasure of the warm hand and butt
and
cool peaches. Butt. Yeah,
that's what Cam always says. He says a couple things you should splurge on. The 3 things are the interior of your car, your shoes, and your mattress, because you're probably spending 95% of your time in one of those 3 things. I think that. I think Cameron would be. He's also designs interiors of cars, so he's doing a little bit of selling. But but I think Cameron would be in full support of going a little extra for the butt temperature modulation.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, if I could actually like set the temperature. Well, it doesn't matter. I would just put it as cold as possible anyway. So
my dad's car, you could. It had sort of like a dial. It had a dial where you could change the air from cold to hot, because it wasn't a traditional heated seat. His wasn't, at least, in that it wasn't just like the warm, whatever the like warming coils or whatever they usually use are. It actually was pumping out air through the perforations in the leather. So that for cold and warm. So that was a little different. So you could dial it up or down. Like most people, I am very binary and would either go the coldest or the hottest. So I'm just a monkey. But it presented the option of something more moderate.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enough about bun temperature.
Mm-hmm. Never enough, but we should move on.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, moving on to number 8 on the list. Number 8 is a tool, and it is probably the most used power tool I have, and it's something that everyone should have, and it's an impact driver. Mm-hmm. So for those of you that are messing around with just a standard drill, that like kind of the longer one's probably about 6 inches long and powered. That's well and good for drilling, but when you put the screw attachment on there and go to screw something in, you're wasting your time. Get the compact impact driver. It's about half the length. It's like a third of the weight, and it's way more powerful. If you're drilling a screw into wood, use the impact driver. And it works by having like a hammer action as well as the spinning action. So it gives you that little bit of extra oomph without any extra muscle behind it.
Amen. I think what you said about the weight is very important too, because this is something that I think a lot of people lose sight of when they're buying tools, and this goes for a lot of purchases, but tools specifically, they forget how they're actually going to be using this thing. They think about ideal conditions, which is great, and yes, in the ideal condition where you have a clean something to support your arm, you have a good angle, blah, 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 that really big, long drill attachment is great. But in a situation where you're, on your tiptoes and you're leaning around a corner and you don't have much leverage, you need something that is maneuverable and a little bit smaller. So I think that's a feature of the impact driver that's very nice.
Yeah, like when you're using one arm to hold a cabinet up.
Yeah,
and you have the other
you're
one,
not exactly.
And then another pro tip: make sure you get the magnetic ends on it.
Yep.
So that the screw sticks to it. That's really important too, because otherwise you're just dropping it and then it's a mess.
Shouting curse words, then dropping the drill on your foot. It's a whole thing.
It's the whole bit.
Yeah.
We've rehearsed it before.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the pod. I know you guys know I did this, but for Christmas, Caroline got us a woodworking class, and we built an Adirondack chair. And it was very interesting seeing an actual craftsman at work and seeing like what things he thinks are important and what things, he thinks are less important. And it was very funny. His tool use was very precise because he was clamping everything. Like his most useful implement was the clamp, and because he was clamping everything down, it allowed him to use his tools the way that they're meant to be used rather than sort of this jimmied way we're talking about. So it's funny, like it's lab conditions because he's in his workshop, but I think the moment he goes outside his workshop and he doesn't have a good workbench and all of these clamps and blah 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 blah, he wants the simplest, most portable, most multi-useful tool he can find.
Well, I think that's the impact driver.
Yeah,
and I'm saying that it's good for a lot of things. It's not just for building Adirondack chairs or anything like that. It's like if you're hanging a picture, if you're making small repairs around the house, it's like...
I was just going to say, like, I don't have an impact driver, and a use doesn't pop into my head like, damn, I could really use one. But I bet you that if I got an impact driver, I would all of a sudden find ways to use it, right?
You know what they say, when you've got a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
That's right.
Nice reference.
Thank you.
That's the thing is, like, if you have one, you'd use it anytime you use a screwdriver or anytime you use a drill. It just does those things better.
Yeah. It is also fascinating, the power tool dilemma, which is, I think, that your average home improvement hack probably overuses power tools incorrectly. I think really what we should be doing is either using the power tools more sparingly or learning to use them, to go back to the previous conversation about the air vents, on a slightly more controlled setting and sort of being a little calmer about it, because like a real pro doesn't turn the torque up to the top rating every time. A real pro might use this in place of a screwdriver, but on a low setting, calmly, without stripping every screw in sight. And
I'm pretty sure I've stripped every screw I've ever driven.
Yeah, probably me too. But I this is why I'm not a real pro.
Something to aspire to.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I think that brings us to a certain segment. Just to go along with this third audio, we also brought on our intern Angelo, who's going to be editing these podcasts. So, Angelo, would you tell Kevin to cue that Not Top music, please?
Hey, play that Not Top music. Thanks, Angelo and Kevin. You guys are the best.
All right. So on the Not Top, I was trying to think of things that I either have or have seen and have thought, oh, that would be awesome. That would improve my life so much. I must have it. And then I get it, and it's like, oh, this sucks.
This is like, wait, what the hell was that shit called on, was it Floam? What was that stuff that they always advertised on Nickelodeon?
I gotta have this, Mom. I gotta have Floam.
I gotta give me some Floam, some sock'em boppers.
This Floam is not much fun. It sure is messy.
No. All right, what do you got, Quinn?
All right, so the first one may or may not exist, but it's the cornballer from Arrested Development.
Oh my god! That's the best. All right, this is the end of the episode. Thanks, everybody. The cornballer.
Just burning the fingerprints off everybody.
That's a great pick.
And then the two actual ones. The first one is one that we registered for our wedding. It's a mortar and pestle.
That feels like something you would want.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make pesto in here. We'll crush some pine nuts and get the basil crush. It's like I muddled mint.
I'm gonna muddle so much mint.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like the one that really put it over the edge for me is we bought this like bag of flaxseed to throw in stuff, and it was unground.
Oh
and so apparently you have to grind it up. So we pour it, and we're like, oh, we can use the mortar and pestle for this. So we got it in there, and after like 30 minutes, it was still like 50% unground. It's like, all right. Get it in the food processor.
Yeah.
Forget it. We're done with this. And even better, we're just going to buy ground flaxseed next time. So it's one of those. It's like, oh, this is a really great idea, and then it's like, well, no. There's a reason. There's electric.
You know what looks dope
now.
on a counter though is a mortar and pestle.
Yes.
Like if I roll into your house and you've got it, like it's decorative, but like it's within arm's reach, like you might use it. I'm like, damn, this guy knows what he's doing.
I'm kind of picturing, instead of getting the mortar and pestle, I don't know why, but I'm picturing you and Emma purchasing a goat and then putting a yoke on the goat and having it like walk in a circle around the house and turning some sort of stone mill that's just grinding these flags. I have no idea why this image just popped into my head, but that's what I think you guys should do. It seems more fun. And also Theo would love the goat.
Oh, yes. I think we actually went to some goat races in Louisville a couple weekends ago.
Wait, goat races.
So
what?
I did.
That's what I thought you said.
All right. Quick aside to Louisville history. There's two alleys downtown. One's called Billy Goat Strut and the other's called Nanny Goat Strut.
Oh, my
and
God.
It was during the Kentucky Derby, when all the rich folks would go to the Derby, the poor people would set up goat races down Billy Goat and Nanny Goat Strut
Almost
alleys,
as good.
just to run at the same time as the Derby.
That is incredible.
So the neighborhood that those alleys are in now sets up a Billy Goat racing festival, and they'll have a bunch of food trucks and beer and all that sort of stuff. But it was a pretty good time. I think if I ever suggested it to Emma, we would have a goat. But I think I'm the limiting factor in that one. I don't think we're going to get a goat. But if we did, we're setting up a Mazda processing stone for sure.
Yeah, good.
Some tortillas with.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I expect an invite.
Yeah, I'd like to be in attendance.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll have a stone christening or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm down.
Okay, and then the last not top is a sunroof in a car. It's like, yeah, this is cool, but like I don't ever use it. It's like it's
That's
just
a great
I
pick.
completely disagree.
It's just it's fine.
I really
I
like
had
this.
the sunroof in the old Tortoise that I drove through my high school years and through a portion of my college years, and it has nothing to do with like the added gains in terms of like sunlight in your car or even like additional breeze. Like that's not what it's for. It's more about light. Like just having it open like kind of brightens up the inside of your car a little bit, and it just puts you in a damn good mood. It's like I remember when I took health in high school. My teacher would always stress the multifaceted layers of health, and how there's physical and mental health, and how going to the gym might not necessarily make you the strongest guy in the world after one trip, but it can have immediate effects on your mental health and your emotional health. And I think the sunroof is like that. It's not going to boost your coolness really in terms of like your actual temperature. But it just makes you feel good when the sunroof is open because it's warm enough to do so. It's like putting the top down on a convertible in a way.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll have to try the sunroof a little bit more often. But I think the next time I buy a car and they're like, hey, you can only choose one, heated seats and cooled seats or a sunroof, I'm taking the seats.
There's no question about that. And it's also good to point out that I didn't buy this car that had a sunroof in it. I inherited it, and it had a sunroof, so like that's the perfect way to run into a sunroof.
Okay. All right.
But I see your
point.
Get
behind it.
It definitely like yeah, I'm somewhat on board with that. I see where you're coming from.
I'm not saying it's bad. I am saying
Yeah.
it's overrated. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, "Oh, you gotta have sunroof." And it's like,
You don't
yeah,
gotta.
that's fine. Yeah.
I want to add one in the spirit of the cornballer.
Yes.
Kyle, I think you'd agree. The
Cheese machine.
Yeah. I think cheese machine probably deserves a spot.
Show
on
me
the
the
not
cheese
top
machine,
something.
you cheese machine. I would throw one more kitchen implement on here. I made a big stink about this being on our registry, and I've used it one time since our nuptials. We have only used our toaster oven one time, and it takes up so much space. I just think I could get by without it. You know what I mean? Like, all the things that a toaster oven can do, I can do in a toaster or an oven, right?
Or a microwave.
Well,
I mean,
it's-
like you've got
This is funny because this conversation just came up, and I was on the pro toaster oven group because we never had a toaster oven
Yeah.
growing up, so it was very unfamiliar with it, and I've actually
we
quite
used
enjoyed
it all the time at home to toast things like bagels. But then I
Yeah.
realized the only reason we were doing that is because we didn't have a toaster. So then I was like, well, we need one to toast bagels. And Ellie just was like, well, I have a toaster. And it turns out it toasts the bagels just fine. It's good.
Yeah, it does.
It's superior to the microwave in that it'll crisp stuff up, like leftover pizza or like a burger or something like that.
That's true.
But you can do that in an oven. Like, there's really no like really strong reason to have a toaster oven.
I would say, well, the one I was going to say is we have one at the office, and it is nice there.
Okay,
because there's
sure.
no oven.
Good
Sure, but
point.
to own in your home,
That's the one I'll. No, yeah, I don't want to take up the counter space.
I might have to get rid of mine. I want to just because I don't think this opportunity is going to come up again. I want to just make a quick plug for something my future brother-in-law Seamus told me the other day. He was saying that he lived in a house with a bunch of guys and they had a toaster, so a traditional toaster, but they were really lazy, and so instead of putting stuff in the oven, if they wanted to like melt some cheese on something, they would lay the toaster on its side and put the cheese on top so it wouldn't touch the top and get all sticky and burnt. And you could actually like make a tuna melt or something in the toaster without putting it in the oven. I thought that was
so you really don't need a
brilliant.
toaster oven in that case. If you're willing to get creative with the
No, this is like you might even want to get rid of your oven.
That's amazing. I love that.
So there you go. That's my little plug. Yeah, I thought that was really clever.
It is. That's a really good idea.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Gwen. What's number 7?
All right, moving on to number 7. Number 7 I have is a white noisemaker, and we got this for our son, who is 8 months old, and as 8-month-olds do, they wake up a lot. We actually got it when he was about a month old because he was down in his crib, and we were making some muffins, and Emma dropped a box of muffin mix, and it woke him up. And it both soured the taste of those muffins for me and led to a tired baby the next day. So we got a white noise machine just so it like drowns out any barking dogs or a truck driving by or whatever it might be. And it's really great for sleeping. It also has created a sleep association, and that you could see gets tired. Which is pretty nice, and I think it would work for anyone. One of my good friends from high school actually used one. I think he still uses it, and he's had it from the time he was a kid, so it works for adults too. It's like white noise machine, improves your sleep, especially good if you have a kid.
That's a terrific pick. I know that my sister Nicole and my brother-in-law Steve have been sleeping with one of these for some time, just for them. And their son, my nephew Sal, also loves the white noise. So I learned the 5 S's, which are swaddle, swing, side, suck, and shh. And the shush with the white noise was always the key. I had him one time. I was watching him, and he was crying pretty endlessly, and I had the 4 other S's going, but it wasn't until I got the white noise going that he really just kind of zoned out.
Yep.
Which was a huge relief, even to just the relief pitcher. Like I'm not the starting pitcher who's got to keep an eye on the little nugget all the time like you. I would imagine this is a lifesaver.
Well, we're in a little bit of a platoon, and thankfully, Emma will normally take up, the 5.5 innings, 5 to 5.5 innings, and I'll take the 3.5 to 4. She's got the magic touch.
She is mama.
She is.
That's right. Yeah. As a key, she has the boob.
That's true.
That is a key.
My question is, if you condition yourself to sleep with white noise machine, do you find it difficult to sleep without it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I bet yes. I bet everything is just too quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we're crippling him for future life, but for right now.
Well, the funny thing is, this is just another kind of example of how modern life has taken us away from the patterns that really work best for our bodies. Like, white noise is just supposed to be a river rushing behind you or leaves rustling. Like, I think, Quinn, you were actually telling me you were reading the book that I really enjoyed, Sapiens, and there's a little passage dedicated to how the sound of a sleeping dog is, we are evolutionarily programmed to be comforted by that sound because it means you're sleeping by a fire with an animal that's trained to protect you. Yep. And so you hear a dog and you hear it, the sound of its breathing, and you feel safe. And I think the white noise is definitely programmed the same way.
I think I just need to get a dog.
Yeah.
I know. Nice. I think you do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the white noise machine. Kyle, give it a try.
Well, I mean, I'm accustomed to sleeping with. One thing I like to use my Amazon hockey puck for is it'll do that. Like, it'll play. I like to play like rain noises, which is kind of the same concept. So I do that already. Like, I like that quite a bit.
Wow. Never mind. Yeah. You've got it. Okay. All right. Well, number 6 then. I've got a garbage disposal. And
so true.
Yeah. So ours was, we thought, broken. It was like jumping around and making really loud, scary noises, and we would reach in there and couldn't feel anything.
Well,
yeah, it was off. And so one weekend I took it down and apart and looked in there, and the like kid medicine droppers, those plastic ones, one of those was just like caught in all the blades and mangled and terrible. And I was like, oh, well, that was it. Took it out, ran great. But for the 3 or 4 days where it was like, I think this thing's broken.
Miserable.
I can't use it. I was crippled by it. It's like, I don't want to walk all the way over to the trash can for these like little bits of food on this plate before I wash it. This is ridiculous. I'm not doing it. And then it was like, well, no, I have to do it. So garbage disposal. And I never knew it was such an important thing. I never had one growing up. And then until, what was it? Was it our second place we were living in?
I think our second place did. And because it changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it totally
I feel like that would be, because we're still, I mean, you're looking into buying a house. We're jumping around, still renting apartments. But like, I feel like that would be on my short list of like really important things in an apartment. Like, that might even, I don't know if I would say that was a deal breaker if everything else was great, but I would give it serious thought. Like, the garbage disposal is huge.
So I wouldn't make it a deal breaker because you could buy one for $150 and install it with the other parts up to, it's like $200 or less, and like spend 3 hours with YouTube and some tools and you got it. So I wouldn't make it a deal breaker, but if it isn't there anywhere I live from now on, I'm installing one.
Yeah. That's very handy, especially for folks like us that do like to do their own cooking. If you don't do much cooking, it's less valuable.
You don't need it quite as much.
That's a good pick.
True.
But
good
okay,
pick.
that's garbage disposal. Number 5 is a humidifier, and this was the item that was the impetus for this list. As we were coming out of winter, just like that, you wake up and everything's dry and your throat hurts and like you have drainage running down your throat, and so you have a sore throat, and your nose is just a desert, and you're just uncomfortable. And so we have bought a humidifier for each
You're
bedroom.
such a dad.
And I know. Really, this list has just made me realize that I'm now weak and dependent on many things. One of them being a humidifier, because I feel alive.
Your Neanderthal ancestors would be so disappointed in your pansy ass.
Oh my goodness. No, they're ashamed. I'm being written out of the will. I'm not getting those 8 rocks and 4 sheepskin.
This is the episode of New Girl when Nick says he's worried that he's losing himself in his relationship with Jess. He's like, my tolerance for alcohol has gotten dangerously low. The other night I had 2 beers and got really tired and didn't want a third. This is what's happened to you.
That exact thing has happened to me.
A humidifier.
So
it just makes me think of my grandpa's house, because he had a
humidifier.
big old humidifier in his basement, which was necessary for sure. But it does make me think of the elderly.
Oh, understandably. It was we were just feeling bad, and when we would wake up, and it was in the winter when we were cranking the heat overnight.
Yeah.
And so we were like, gosh, I guess let's just try it, because it was like, I don't think I'm sick. I go to work and I feel fine, and then I come home and I feel okay, and then I wake up and I feel like death. Every morning it's like, all right, let's just try a humidifier. And we got one, and it's like, oh, this extra gallon of air is really, really nice. This extra gallon of water being pumped into the air is really, really nice. So humidifier, give it a try.
Do you have a humidifier at your place, Mike?
I do not, but that has a little bit to do with my heating system. So I have the baseboard heat, so it doesn't really dry out the air as much as some other forms of heating. I don't know what Quinn has, but I know that my parents, where they have a fireplace that they run pretty constantly up in New Hampshire, that dries the shit out of the air. And my dad's always complaining about getting dry. And I know central air, like a duct, can be a little bit tough, but
That's
for me,
but
for me with the baseboard heat, it's not so bad. So I don't think I need it. What about you?
We don't. I think that might be something we think about investing in, though, because we have, maybe not to the extent where I feel like death every morning, but there are definitely symptoms.
Of death.
Yeah, exactly. So might have to give that some thought.
So going on to number 4. Number 4 is the backup camera. Backup camera on the car is so good, and I am actually really nervous I'm not going to be able to parallel park anymore without one.
You suburbanite.
And yeah, so this one is actually even fancier than just a backup camera. I also have cameras on the front and on each of my side mirrors. So it stitches together a photo and gives me like an overhead view of the car.
I've seen those. They're incredible.
Yeah, they're really good. I use it pulling into my garage even. I'm really weak now.
That's awesome.
And I mean like pulling in straight to my garage, not backing in.
I love this list. Is just an incredible list of things you can't do.
Yeah, no, it's a list of things I used to be able to do. Found a product that does it for me, and now I'm totally unable to do it.
The ass wiper. TM.
If only.
Yeah, seriously.
But no, for reals though, I cannot wait to buy a car that's not like circa 2000 in origin, because the backup camera is so nice. Even like, forget parallel parking, because it is, obviously super useful for that. Just like backing into any spot, or if you pull in front ways, backing out of a spot, it's just safer. It's really very useful.
One little use of it that I like that doesn't get as much play is parking depth. So even if you are going forward, I will always then throw it in reverse just to see if I've parked the proper depth into a spot.
Yep. I do that as well. And then my least favorite is when you pull up too far and like you get the curb and then you just get that scrape when you back up. This helps prevent that.
Totally.
Shoot short, check your depth, and then if you're good, leave it.
Yep. Hundo P.
I like that.
That's it. All right. So
that's a great pick.
That one's pretty self-explanatory. That's the backup camera. Okay, so honorable mentions?
Let's do those.
Okay, I got a few of these. I'll blow through them pretty quick. The first two I have are Good Pillow and Good Mattress. I think those are just kind of too obvious to make the list. Everyone knows that's great. I do highly recommend getting those. I mentioned the GPS watch at the beginning. Really only applies to if you run or bike or do insert endurance sport here. Couple of them that pair together, a big cutting board and sharp knives.
The big cutting board is a great call. Big as you can get.
Yep. I also felt those were just kind of obvious because they're wonderful. Use them literally every day. And it has improved my cooking experience. Charcoal chimney for a grill. No need for lighter fluid. Don't want your food tasting like it, so get the charcoal chimney. One thing that we have is a milk frother for making at-home lattes.
Yep.
So Emma actually makes like a homemade caramel a lot of times and does some frothed milk with a little bit of caramel and coffee.
Damn, son.
It's really good. But that one's like especially unnecessary but nice.
So we're talking about the little, the handheld one that has little zzz, right?
So we have one of those, and we have one that's like the steam, like barista ones, and that's like the weekend type thing. You know, it takes a little bit of time for it to warm up. That one's more fun for sure. Yeah. But the other one is just to like pour it in, set it, and forget it for a minute. Another one that is obvious and only applies to some of the population, but glasses or contacts. You don't know you need them until you use them, and then it's like, oh, I needed them. But again, doesn't apply to everybody. A rubber mallet is great for like just getting things into place. I had to change a tire recently, and the tire was just stuck on there, so I took my rubber mallet and walloped the thing, came right off. It was great.
I depending on how things work out, that's the one I might consider at like the back end of this list, because that is an insanely useful tool.
It really is. I got really tired of using a scrap 2x4 and an actual hammer for things. It's like, all right, I'm going to go spend $7 and use a rubber mallet and stop banging things with a 2x4.
Yeah.
Next is a hairdryer and conditioner. I have this on here mostly because I'm sure most women already use it, and they're like, men are dumb if you don't. I recently started using it at the behest of a barber I went to because apparently it makes your hair look thicker. And when mine is disappearing, I'm trying to maximize the thickness. Also, a warm hairdryer in the morning feels nice. Sometimes I just shoot it at my body.
Son, are you going to take that thing out to dinner?
Right on my butt. Yeah, once again, Quentin's butt is getting warm.
It's good for all over.
Yep.
And then my last honorable mention is a foam roller.
Everyone should have one of those.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least
so
a lacrosse ball.
My thought is if you don't do some form of exercise that leaves you sore, like you probably don't need one. But anyone that does definitely should.
No doubt. Yeah.
So that's all I got for honorables. You guys
that's actually another one I might genuinely consider, because that's a great pick.
The foam roller? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
let's do your top three, and then Mike and I can add.
See where we got. Okay. So number 3 is, I assume, what you guys thought was going to make this list. It's the Squatty Potty.
There it is.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know about the Squatty Potty,
go to YouTube.
Go to Amazon reviews.
And go to the Amazon reviews and read that.
Yes.
Oh, I laughed until I cried.
Luxurious boiling.
Yep. So the Squatty Potty helps you poop because it puts your puborectalis muscle in a relaxed position.
That's a thing. Hey, everybody, listeners, that's a thing.
That's an actual muscle, according to the
Amazon
Squatty Potty video. And you sometimes you're pooping on a regular toilet and you think you're done, but really there's a lot more hiding up in there, and the Squatty Potty just lets you get rid of it. So, Squat Pot.
I think just to enjoy like how great the Squatty Potty is, it's really important to actually know what it is, because this was something that went over my head from those great advertisements. It's really just like a little step stool kind of setup that you put in front of the toilet. And so it puts your feet up to relax your small intestine into, or, your digestive tract, I suppose, into a more natural position, how you would actually squat pooping in, say, the rainforest. And so for the user, really the only effect is you're just sitting on the toilet like usual, but your feet are up a little bit more. And my, like, it really changes the experience.
It really does.
Everything feels different. It's like, it's like if you're a righty and you throw lefty, it feels uncomfortable at first, but slowly you're like, okay, I kind of get what this is all about. It's
extremely primal.
Yeah. So imagine if you were a righty and then you throw lefty and you're like, this doesn't quite feel right. But when you're a righty, you throw 70 and you throw 99 lefty.
Yeah, you realize that you were meant to be a lefty all along.
Yeah,
to be clear, yes.
This is how it's supposed to happen, and my performance is way better, but it does feel weird.
It takes a little bit of mental getting used to, because you're like, if your pants and underwear are around your ankles, they're also like at least a couple inches closer to your. It's just like a very like weird position to find yourself in. The first time you do it, the first time I did it was at your apartment, and I was really excited. Yeah. I was like, I'm not gonna shit, because on the way there, I was like, because I know Quinn's got that squat pad, I want to use it. I ate some Taco Bell.
You wanted to write a testimonial of your own.
It takes some getting used to, though. You're right. Like, it was hard for me to like get in the correct position the first few times I used it. I ended up having to actually get totally naked from the waist down, because like I was just limited by pants and underwear.
Oh, that's such a great image.
So it was especially primal. I've since gotten it to where
you just started howling.
Like, most of the way there, he takes his shirt off like he's driving his car.
That's right. That's right. Just grab some banana leaves.
Definitely.
So that's it.
Try to find a friend. Potty. If you're not going to invest in a squatty potty yourself, find a friend like I have with Quinn that'll let you use theirs, because it's a fun experience.
Yeah,
shortcut, just get like a stack of books that's 7 to 9 inches high and throw that at
Good point.
In front of your toilet.
It's not like super. It's not a huge technological leap.
Yeah. You could use anything.
No one has like seen a squatty potty and been like, "Wow, this is the future." It's like, no, this is like 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, you could use anything, but that's a squatty potty, probably.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Number 2, I have polarized sunglasses. They are so nice, whether you're driving, whether you're at a ball game, whatever you're doing. It doesn't even feel like you have sunglasses on, except your eyes have stopped hurting. Everything's clear. You can see everything great. I would say the one downside to them is like screens are kind of funky with it. So if you're trying to look at a phone, it's a little off. But polarized sunglasses, it's no glare, and your eyes feel good. It's awesome.
I should get a pair, shouldn't I? I have very weak eyes. Like my eyes are light colored and they're very sensitive.
Yeah, you should get polarized sunglasses.
If you're just trying to buy them off the rack or something, which you can do, a trick to test the authenticity of the polarized lens is grab 2 pairs and hold one perpendicular to the first. And if they're actually polarized, you shouldn't be able to. No light should come between them because of the way the gradation works. So it's the equivalent of like, cool. You can't see my fingers if you're listening, but like my fingers are parallel, and then if you turn one, you can't see through them, and that's how polarized sunglasses work. If you're trying to buy them off the rack.
Wow, that's really cool. Good tip.
But
some might call that a pro tip.
Thank you, Miss Spencer. That's high school physics. But anyways, there's nothing worse than having like, and I know this because I own exclusively shit sunglasses. Like after a while, they just give you a headache. Like they don't do the job quite right. So it's probably
it just changes the tint of what you're seeing.
Yeah, I probably need to just invest already in a nice pair of polarized shades.
I was always super against them, and I got them as a gift. And now it's like I would lose the cheapos just all the time, or break them, or whatever, because I just wouldn't take care of them. And these, it's like I'm a lot more careful about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's more worthwhile, just because they're gonna last longer. I say that, knock on wood, I say that, and then I'm gonna be out on a boat this summer, and they're gonna fly off my head and be gone. But thus
Croakies,
far,
baby. I've heard that's what the kids do.
All right.
It's true. I would fully be Dylan in that scenario.
Hey, at one time that actually had a practical use. They were meant to keep your glasses on, I think.
That is the idea.
That's true. But anyway, polarized sunglasses. That's a good one. All right.
Good pick.
And then my number one top 10 gadget you didn't know you needed is a meat thermometer.
It's certainly Quinn's list.
I know, yep. I use a meat thermometer because I'm not a knuckle-dragging Neanderthal.
Yep.
And I have a tool that can tell me exactly how warm the interior of this potentially parasite holding thing is. And it won't lead me to either serving raw steak, which Kyle has been a victim of, or a pleasant recipient of, depending on your tastes, or just like totally burnt, overcooked meat. And so it was either Christmas or my birthday this year, but Emma got me one where they have the lead, like the thermometer probe has like a 4-foot long cord. So you just put it in the meat, you leave it in the meat, and then you set it up to the thermometer device, and it sets an alarm off at whatever temperature you put in there. So like if I'm cooking chicken and I need it to be 160, I'll put it at 150 because I know I'm going to be resting it for a little bit, and it'll just set off the alarm, and I'll know, okay, time to take it off the heat. So you can just kind of set it and forget it. It's awesome. And that way you know exactly what it's at. You know your meat's going to be juicy and delicious, and it's not going to be totally raw and kill your family.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is you are now a man of responsibility. Right. You have a wife and child who are depending upon you both not to die yourself and not to kill them. Right. So that's big. But I will say, just with the specifics of your case, it seems like you not only have a meat thermometer, but a very practical and handy meat thermometer. So I'm big. I think that the long lead and the alarm feature, that's awesome. I've encountered ones where you have kind of the longer lead to keep you safe when you're poking into the oven, but one that's like actually long enough to leave exposed the whole time and also to have an alarm, that's fantastic.
I highly recommend it. I think she got it off of Amazon, and it's got the 4-foot long like braided metal cord.
Yeah.
We also have just like your standard like instant read one where you just poke it in and it tells you, and that's good for like stovetop type stuff. But if you're in the oven where you're not going to be checking it very often, or on the grill, having a long lead is really nice. So that's what I've got, because I used to be too proud and think, oh, I can tell by touch, and it's like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
You're not a chef.
Well, that lines up really nicely, actually, with a couple of ones I was thinking of. Do you want to roll into what you were thinking, Mike?
Yeah, why don't you go first? I'm formulating a couple thoughts.
This past weekend, I spent some time with my brother Cam, and he would not stop raving about this new implement that he uses all the time. Are you guys familiar? He says he'll never go back, so it's perfect for this list. Are you guys familiar with the sous vide? So Cam has one, and he says he cooks like 8 steaks a week now with it. And apparently it's just a very easy way to get your steak uniformly cooked. Basically how it works is you just kind of like cook it in hot water, and the sous vide circulates the water in such a way as to evenly cook your steak. You don't really have to worry about a meat thermometer in this case. But Cam was like, I've never seen him rave about a product like he was talking about his sous vide. I've not used one, but...
There's a lot of restaurants will cook their steaks that way, because if they'll have like their rare one and their medium rare one and their medium one, and they're all set to these certain temperatures, and they'll leave it just a little short of those temps because they're going to give it a good sear right at the end. But it cooks the middle, well, it cooks it all throughout to that exact temperature, and then they can get the good char on the outside just in.
That's what Cam says he does. He'll pop it out of there and then he'll char it up for exactly.
And you can't overcook it, so they just leave those all day and then throw 6 sticks of butter and then char them up, like you said. That's kind of the secret of restaurant steak, why it's so much better than your steak at home.
It's the butter.
The 6 sticks of butter.
Yeah.
A couple of other kitchen ones. So Lisa and I got these. It seems so simple. These like fucking incredible bowls. They're just like big, hard, like plastic serving bowls, and they come in a number of shapes. And like just having a wide range of good bowls to serve and chop and like mix stuff in really makes a big difference. As weird as that sounds,
Prep bowls are awesome. No,
it's our favorite thing that we registered for is this stack of like 7 bowls. Isn't that just weird? Like, this is a Christmas gift I received. A really good thermos is clutch. Like, it really.
Ooh.
I just wrote that down.
I'm pretty serious about it because it dramatically improved my commute. Getting like a good thermos, and it works both ways. It keeps my beverages hot in the winter, and it keeps my stuff really fucking cold in the summer. Having a good thermos has dramatically changed the way that I go about my day. So I would be.
Totally. And especially as thermos technology has advanced, because like you said, you now have that option of the hot and the cold, which is kind of new. Yep. I also think that the ergonomic design of some of these has improved, where it's much more comfortable to hold and to drink. So I actually would very seriously stump for that, because not only is it just like convenient in its conception, it's actually become better in its execution.
And there are so many ways you can do it not right. Like, there are so many thermoses that are not of high quality, right? Yeah. So, two more from the kitchen. This one is, depending on how you cook, you might not need it, but I got a spatter screen, and it's really nice for just leaving stuff on the stove, and you put a spatter screen over it. Just prevents a lot of the mess and lets you cook things at the right temperature. That's more of like a kind of just, you should have one of those. I don't know if this qualifies, but having a crock pot is the best fucking thing in the world. Like,
oh, love a crock pot.
I don't think it necessarily qualifies for the list, because
just a lot of
have
one,
have it or know it, but it's awesome.
Like, I'll never not own a crock pot ever again. Like, I remember I first crock pot I owned broke, and I ordered a new one that same day. Like, I just knew I couldn't live without it.
Yep.
Last one I had was, and this is, again, nowadays it's pretty much standard issue, but the smart TV is so great, because like, we don't have cable, and I don't want to hook something up to this TV we have in our bedroom. Like, on our TV in the living room, I have my PlayStation hooked up. We can watch Netflix or whatever through that. But having a TV that just has like Netflix and other streaming platforms on it is really amazing. Like, it makes you wonder, well, we didn't have streaming is the way we do now back when we didn't have smart TVs, but now that I've had one, I can't imagine not having a TV that just has those kind of, out of the box. It's clutch.
Word.
Yep. I've got the Roku TV, and it's awesome just having it, just being able to go to the home screen, and you've got your inputs, and you've got Netflix, HBO, and all of that.
So that's all I had. What about you, Mike?
I get a couple. One is a good length of PVC pipe for stretching. I've taken really liking that for warming up, like doing pass-throughs over my shoulders and doing little around-the-world stretches, just kind of what like a baseball pitcher might do to warm his shoulders up. I've come to really like that because, like most people, I have very poor upper back and shoulder mobility. That's a really good one, and sort of in the vein of the foam roller. One thing that I've invested isn't the right word, because like $10, but something I've paid more attention to is good hangers. So having good hangers is good for helping keep the shape of your shirts and your pants, but I've also found that the hangers with the articulating hook is really helpful, because it allows you to orient your clothes in different ways, which can be really good, especially if they're moving from like, different closets. So I actually really like a good hanger. So I'm big on that. Another one in sort of the low key, it's nice, is a good straw. So on this like to-go cup conversation, dumpy reusable or dumpy disposable straws suck, and they're really just like this is terrible for the environment for no reason. And there's been a boom in the reusable straw industry. So like a good straw is really nice. So I'm big on that. Two, I'm pretty serious about a bookmark, like a good, well-made bookmark that's going to last a long time. It's a joyous thing, but it's also really important because I am fervently anti-dog earing, and I'm
Are you guys both anti-dog ear?
I would never dog ear a book.
Yeah. I did as a young fella, but I don't dog ear anymore. I used to think that bookmarks were stupid, but that's mostly because I was rereading the same 3-book series over and over again. I could have told you what page I was on, like the back of my hand. You say like, "What's happening?" I'd been like, "Oh, Alex Rider is swimming out of that cave with the shark in it again." So I didn't need a bookmark. I do now. So I love a good bookmark. I just got a good one for my birthday. That's probably why I'm thinking about it. But another bit of book technology that I'm very serious about is a book light.
Yeah.
So unless you're a tablet or Kindle or whatever reader, which I am not, you need a good light to help you read, particularly if you share a bed with somebody or you like to get up very early in the mornings, whatever it is, and you don't want to disturb other people. Having a good book light is huge. Now, I taught myself as a young man to read in exceptionally low light because I used to read in the car ride home from like my sisters would have a basketball tournament, and I would read by the light of like passing
How are your
street
eyes?
lights. They're great. I trained them. My eyes are quite good. But these days, I tend to like the book light. So I'm pretty serious about the book light and the travel mug or thermos are the two that I'd really stump for.
I'm serious about the thermos as well. I think a book light, because I believe you're so in the minority, and that I think most people, when they read, they just read on their phones or maybe they have a Kindle. I just like I don't know if I know anyone besides you that owns a book light.
Wow.
I just don't know. I can't think of anyone that said. I can't remember the last time I talked to someone about having a book light. I love that you have one, by the way.
I love it as well. I normally just use the light in my house.
Big man has a house.
It's good. Yeah, I turn the lights on. I pay for the electricity.
Tough guy. I'll leave that one up to Quinn. I think I'll let Quinn be the tiebreaker.
So I'm definitely in on thermos. I think that's an oversight on my part because I love both my thermos for water and for coffee. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely in on that. I think booklight I'm probably out on because I tend to do a little bit more Kindle reading.
All right, let's call it a strong honorable mention.
Number 11.
We'll call it 11.
Okay, perfect. I can work with that. So I say we just slot in the thermos because I think this list is outstanding.
An amazing list. The only thing.
So are we thinking? Oh yeah, slotting it in. Are we looking to just like pick something up and put the thermos in?
I kind of like. Tell me what you guys think of this. I actually am weirdly thinking that we might want to pull the garbage disposal just because of the frequency with which one finds one already in one's abode. Not because because there's a good chance that you might have a garbage disposal without even having to think about it. Whereas like most of these require an active kind of decision on your part to upgrade.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that because for the first 23 years of my life, I was garbage disposal-less.
Right. I don't know. The reason I'm kind of jumping through this hoop, I believe, is because I just really like everything on this list, and I'm trying to find a technicality. And also because, and I kind of like a thermos. I actually might even put thermos a little higher than 6. I don't know if it would be a 1-for-1.
Yeah, probably. Well, you know what we could do? We could combo the humidifier and the noisemaker as sleep aids.
Oh, you're really getting into the top 10
I'm in on that. I'm so in on that.
My top 10 vet here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's combo those, and we can slot those probably at 7.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if if 5 is high enough for a thermos.
I was thinking 4. I think we put it right after the squatty
I
potty.
agree. I think
Kyle?
that's exactly the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was painless.
I just want to just make one quick note, which is that I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, I think Thermos is technically it's like Kleenex. It's a brand name that has kind of become synonymous with the thing itself. We're not endorsing Thermos. We like anybody who makes whatever the generic term for this is.
Wouldn't that be an incredible
I don't
top
know
10
what that
list?
would be.
Let's start thinking.
That would be fun.
Stay tuned.
That would be a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I think that what we've done then with your help, Quinn, or what you've done with our help, I guess, is create a definitive top 10 list of some must-have items, some must-have household and travel items, it seems.
It does seem that way. It also seems like a list of things that make you
Like Ukraine.
Yes.
But it's really really pleasurable in the meantime. So,
And this list was crafted in a very reasonable amount of time, particularly once we edit out a few portions that will certainly not be making the show.
Definitely not.
definitely not. Okay, well, should we give it a
Why
wrap
don't
then?
you list the
Yeah.
list?
Rattle off this list? Okay. All right. The top 10 tools or gadgets you never knew you needed. Number 10, the Bluetooth speaker. 9, heated or cooled seats. 8, an impact driver. 7, a humidifier and noisemaker for sleeping. 6, a garbage disposal. 5, a backup camera. 4, a thermos or whatever the generic brand name is. Contigo Yeti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 3, the squatty potty. Number 1 in my heart. Number 2, polarized sunglasses. And number 1, the meat thermometer.
I love it. It's
Beautiful work. This is a very
It's worth
list.
reiterating how perfect this list is for Quinn.
Yes, you guys sometimes want to do like the best objective list, and I did not do that. I did the best 10 items.
Yeah, I'm
for
quite
myself.
happy with that.
But I think luckily these are transferable. Like this wasn't just beard grooming tools. Like this was transferable to our audience, I think.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being our guinea pig, Quinn. I'm very happy that we've
Absolutely.
crossed this proverbial Rubicon into the future of our podcasting. So thank you for helping us with that.
And hopefully you listeners are not just listening to Kyle and me talking to dead air because we were not able to properly
We still
convert his
post
file.
it with just our audio.
It's just the two of us like, oh, that's so funny, Quinn. You're the best.
Oh, I love that item, Quinn. Yeah.
Oh, great! What a terrific item. That's like when Daryl gets really lazy on The Office and is just like, man, I cannot believe that person has gotten him or herself into that crazy situation.
Well, before we let you go, I would just like to reiterate, don't forget that the incomparable Kevin MacLeod put together our delightful theme and not top 3 music. And if you enjoyed our artwork, that was put together by Erin Sant. You can see more of her stuff at Sant Design on Instagram.
And if you're thinking about the old social medias, you can appreciate the wonderful work of our social media guru and coordinator, Caroline Labranti. Check her out somewhere. Just Google it. And if you want to take a look at her wonderful work on this podcast, check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. Top 10 KM. Send us an email, top10km@gmail.com. Tell us, what we're doing wrong. Maybe
And
what
now,
we're doing right. Probably
No
what
matter
we're doing
where you
wrong.
are, email us and tell us you want to be on the podcast.
Yes. Yep. Even if you're in like Laos, if you're in Mogadishu, you're in Austin, Texas, you're in Juneau, Alaska, or any number of other places that I cannot think of, give us a call. We will reverse the charges so you have to pay for the long distance. I'm not even sure long distance exists anymore, but if it does, you're paying. But at any rate, we'd love to have you. So shoot us an email, and I assume you're already listening to the podcast, but if you want to check it out on a different app, we are on the Apple Podcast app, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbeam, wherever the hell you can get a podcast.
Wonderful, boys.
Quinn, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure on my end as well. And before signing off, just want to wish Mike a happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. I'm glad I was able to give you pleasure on your end.
Oh, you did.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. See ya.
Peace.